Hi, this is Heidi from My Reading Life. I'm going to be doing a weekend reads in this video. Usually I like to do a Friday reads, but I uploaded the history trail tag on Friday, and I just never got around to doing a Friday reads tag. So today I'm going to do a Friday reads, not Friday reads, I'm sorry, a weekend reads tag, but it's basically the same thing. I'm just uploading it on the weekend. So the first thing I'd like to show you that I'm reading is Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions by Edwin A. Abbott. I have had this on my Kindle for quite a long time, and I was inspired to pick it up and start reading it by Conrad over at 7 Days at Sea. I will link his channel down below. He had talked about reading this in one of his recent videos, and he made it sound so good that I definitely wanted to pick it up, and I'm about 44% of the way through it. It's pretty short, so I plan on finishing that this weekend. The next thing that I'm in the middle of and absolutely loving is The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell, which this cover is really cool too. I'll show you. It's one of those see-through covers here. David Mitchell writes these kind of genre-bending books. They're like literary fiction with a sci-fi fantasy twist. I really enjoy his writing style. The first book I ever read by David Mitchell was Slade House, and I loved that book, and so that led me to read Cloud Atlas, and then this is the third book of his that I've picked up, and I think that they're all loosely related. They seem to all take place in sort of the same world. So I'm very much enjoying this. I'm about a quarter of the way through, and just loving it. So I'm going to be continuing on with that. The other thing I continue to read on my Kindle is The Signal and the Noise by Nate Silver. That's the nonfiction book that I'm currently reading. It's about probabilities and why certain things that are predicted come true and why certain things don't, even though the data seems to tell us that they are going to happen. And each chapter kind of talks about a different issue that scientists try to use statistics to predict the probability of the event occurring, whether it be earthquakes, flu epidemics, politics. Those are some of the topics. There's some sports stuff in there. Those are some of the topics that are addressed in the book. The one on predicting flus was really fun and interesting. I really enjoyed that. Specifically talking about how the government decides which vaccines to create for which types of and strains of flu, because that's a whole prediction thing where they try to predict which type of flu or which strain of flu is going to be the most prevalent in any given year. And of course you have to make those vaccines up ahead, and so that's just a gamble, a crapshoot to try to figure out which vaccine to make, and sometimes they gamble correctly and sometimes they gamble incorrectly. So that was a really fascinating chapter. And then I finished an audiobook a couple of days ago, and it was a great audiobook. It was You'll Grow Out of It by Jessie Klein, which was a nonfiction, memoir, essay type collection. She's a comedian, and I fell in love with it because the very first essay was all about how she had been a tom girl when she was younger, and that she grew up and she still preferred sort of dressing like a tomboy, but that there's no corresponding terminology for a person who was a tomboy when they were a kid, and then when they grow up and they still want to dress and act like a tomboy. There's no corresponding term for that. Tom woman, I think she calls it in the essay, and I just could relate to that so much. I absolutely was a tomboy growing up. I still probably could be considered a tomboy even now that I'm a grown person. I just have no interest in, like makeup and fashion and all that kind of stuff. So she got me sucked into her collection right from the get-go with that essay. So I would definitely recommend that. But my current audiobook that I haven't started yet, but I'm going to start it this weekend, is a book called All American Boys. And I cannot for the life of me remember the author's name, but it's a YA book about two teenage boys who go to the same school, I believe. One is white and one is black, and they are in the same convenience store, and a police officer assaults the young black boy and the young white boy witnesses it, and it's all about how the fallout from that episode. So I'm looking forward to reading that. That's been talked about a lot in the past. It came out, I think, maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And then the next book that I plan to read is one that I got from my library. Sorry, the lights are shining in it, but it's The Bone Orchard by Paul Dorian. And this is the next one that I need to read in a series of books about a Maine game warden. And Paul Dorian is a writer, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is a writer for, I believe, Down East Magazine. And he had started this book about a game warden, and it's sort of, you know, it's kind of like a police procedural, only with game warden, who are the folks that enforce fish and game laws in rural states. So looking forward to getting into that. I got that through my library's online system. And that is what I'm currently reading. And I hope that you're all reading great things and having a wonderful weekend. Talk to you later.